Alright, we're going to start on a 5-minute function. So right now all I've got is a basic HTML document. I put a little JavaScript thing there for fun, and I linked to a JavaScript file. As long as you're doing that, we can start. First thing that we're going to do, so the whole point of this one is to grab all of the get data from the URL bar, and we can access it in JavaScript. So to do that, we're going to set it up similar so that it behaves kind of like PHP does. So we're going to say var get is equal to get URL data. And then we're going to pass in window.location.ref. That should give us the full address bar. And now we have to create that function. So function get URL data takes a URL. Okay, first thing we're going to do is create the blank object that's going to be returned. So we're going to call it URL data. Alright, and it's going to be equal to a blank object. Next we're going to check if URL.index of question mark, if it has a question mark, so if it's greater than -1, if we actually have a question mark, then we will do all of this stuff. Else, let's just go straight to the return URL data, meaning it will be a blank object if there is no variables. Now, if there are variables, everything after the question mark is going to be variables. So we're going to say var string, key var string, we'll call it key vars string. So, and that's going to be equal to URL.split by a question mark, and then we're going to get the second element of that array, and that will be all of the raw string data with the variables and stuff in it. Now we want to split that by and signs. So var and split is going to be equal to key var string dot split by equal signs, or and signs, sorry. Now this is going to be all of the key value pairs as strings with the value, with the key and then an equal and the value. We need to separate those so we can actually access it by the key name. So to do that, we'll say and split dot for each function, and we'll call these key val strings or string. And now we will set a we will split this up. So we'll say key var split, and that's going to be equal to key value string dot split by equal signs. So we're splitting them by equals. That would make the key the first index, which will be key var split 0, and then the value is equal to key var split 1. Now what I'm going to do is take the key and I'm going to replace any open close brackets. So a lot of the times an array will be will make the variable name have open close bracket for at the end of the name. We're going to remove those, and we'll find out if it's an array a different way. First thing we're going to say is if the URL data that we're creating already has this key in it, that must mean that we are starting an array. We're going to create an array. So the next thing we're going to do is check if we already have it as an array. So URL, actually that is just done like array dot is array, and then we pass in what we want to check for the type case of an array. So here we go. If it is an array, we do this, else we do this, and also we check else. If it doesn't already exist, we will just put it in there. So we can just go URL data at the key is equal to the value. That'll automatically set it even if it's not an array or anything. So the next, let's check what do we do if it's an array. We're just going to push this value into it because it's already an array. So URL data dot at the index of key dot push the new value. Now what do we do if it is already in the array, so it must already are in the object, the URL data object, but we are now going to establish it as an array. So we'll just say URL data at the key is equal to an array with URL data at the key, the current value, plus the new value. Now that should be everything. We refresh the screen here. Val is not defined. Did I call it value? Let's call it val. And that should be good. So now if I say get, we have all of our stuff we can access. So that was in 5 minutes. We got the function. Good. This is the array. Test1 and test2 is the value for the key of test. And then we have var1 and var3, because I skipped 2 because I'm stupid. So yeah, now you can say get test and access that array, or you can say get dot test. You can access it like in any object. So now you have access to everything in the URL bar, and that's pretty it's pretty handy a lot of the time. So you can also, if you want, encapsulate it into an anonymous function, and maybe we'll do that as we build these functions. We'll put them into our own like reusable library. So yeah, that's essentially puts a variable called get on the main scope. The other way to do that, like I said, is we could put it in an anonymous function here and just say window.get. Come down here, and it should still be the same thing. Oh, I forgot this right here. There. So now same thing. Get is the same stuff, but all of our stuff is within its own scope. So yeah, there it is. I mean, essentially we did get the function done within 5 minutes. That's kind of my goal, is to have the function done within around 5 minutes. And that function right there, reusable for any code in which you want to get access to URL data. And we could build upon this and make it even more robust if we wanted, but essentially one down. Yeah, if you guys have any suggestions for like things that would be nice to create and reuse in code, I've already started one. I think the next one I'll do is create our own Ajax function, kind of like jQuery has, but we get to use our own stuff. Now I don't know if I can do that one in just 5 minutes, but I'll get the basic part done in 5 minutes. A usable piece of code in 5 minutes, a usable function, and then maybe we'll use the rest of the time to you know, make it more robust. So yep, again, if you have suggestions for things like that would be nice to have in all of your code, you know, little functions that are helpful, just let me know and we'll keep up with this. Thanks.